Hello, YouTube. Welcome back. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in yet again to another episode of Comic Stuff. Today, I have got a special guest for you guys. I randomly met him at Star Wars Con, which you guys saw me in my last two videos. And he was kind enough to invite me down to California to play some Magic the Gathering, which some of you may know I am a giant nerd. Of course, I am talking about the one and only Joe Johnson. He's an actor on the Orville. He is a funny guy. He is a Magic the Gathering content creator, an all-around cool dude. And also the host of Table Top Jocks, which is a great Magic the Gathering Commander gameplay series, which you can find on YouTube, and we will talk about that later. But for now, I'm just going to bring him on. So here he is. Joe, my friend, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and busy schedule to come and chat with me about Magic. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. This is such an honor. Like honestly, since we met, it's just been going off on all cylinders. So I appreciate the love.
It's an honor to have you on, man. It was such a good time. Just like I remember seeing you at Celebration. I was just like, oh my god, that's Joe Johnson. I just and I kind of like was like, oh, I don't want to make a scene. Can we just like take a selfie? And you were just like so cool. And when you brought me down to Cali, I mean, that was one of the coolest experiences I've had in my entire life. And so I thank you, and thank you for coming on the show. And for those who are uninitiated on the internet, I want you to tell me who is Joe Johnson. Where do you come from? What's your story?
Oh wow. It's funny because so I was born in Flint, Michigan, where you guys probably have all heard the stories and whatnot. So we won't have to go into that. But it was kind of a rough kind of upbringing. I think just being a part of Black culture in general, like trying to kind of fit in with what's going on. That's not the nerdy side. That Black culture is not really. Everybody nowadays is like, oh man, it's cool to be a nerd. It still ain't cool in Black culture to be a nerd. It's just heads up. There's been a lot of denial of liking things and kind of keeping secrets and hiding. And I guess when I let my nerd flag fly was honestly like a few years ago. Really, I just said, you know what, like. I don't know if I can cuss on here.
Oh, you can fuck. Say it all. Yeah, say it all.
Fuck. I was like, fuck it. Let's let this nerd flag fly. Let's get it in. I like all things nerdy. I started off a big video game head. Definitely Marvel's Capcom, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, Tekken. Mortal Kombat. That was my jam. Super Smash Bros. I really just gravitated towards that and the competitiveness and, watching Evo growing up and being like, oh my God, like these dudes are killing it. And now I'm literally going to Evo next month. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
I'm not prepared. But I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna drink and I'm gonna smoke and I'm gonna have a good time. So
just a great fucking time. That's awesome, man. I loved Tekken was my shit when I was a kid. It was Koinimitsu and Yoshimitsu.
Yes.
And those are my two. I think I was drawn most of them because they had like rhyming names, and the lady and she had Koinimitsu had like a cat mask, and that was just one of my favorite. I just thought it was so cool, But so now of all the different mediums in nerddom, so you started with video games, and now you're this big Magic the Gathering content creator. What is it about Magic specifically that drew you to it? Because I mean, you've got comic books, and you can collect shoes, you can collect vintage Hot Wheels, you can do vintage video games, but you went to Magic. What is it about Magic that really brought you to it?
It's funny because I'm still into all of that. But I do love Magic the Gathering. I had a buddy, Jay Stedman, taught me how to play. One summer, it was a very cool summer because I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. So he was like, yo, I'm gonna teach you how to play World of Warcraft and Magic in the same summer. So he taught me how to play. I went back and started raving about that to a coworker of mine. At the time, worked at a GameStop or whatever, and dude just walked in and he was like, he heard me talking about Magic, and I was like, he was like, hey man, I heard you talking about Magic, and I'm like, yeah, it's really cool. I just got into it and like da da da, and he was like, yeah, well, I got a bunch of cards and I grew up playing the game, and I wanted to know if you just wanted my stuff. You seem very enthusiastic about it, and I was like, well, yeah, how much? He was like, well, honestly, if I give you this stuff and you ever stop playing, just make this promise to me that you will pass this on to someone else. And so if he's listening, I never stopped. I continue to play. So me and my boy Jay, we separated all the cards just because like we didn't really look at the cards. We kind of just looked at the art. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this looks cool. I'll take this pile. I'll take this pile. We divvied it up, and then we were both from Michigan as well. Both moved out to Cali. He's not in Cali anymore. He's in Chicago doing his thing, working for Salesforce, doing his thing. But yeah, no, it just gravitated towards me, and I, embarrassingly enough, I would go around and I mean, I guess I didn't like stereotype people, but like I would look at people and be like, they look like they play Magic. Hey, like, do you play Magic together? Like very naive, and like one guy was just like, he's like, no, but I have a friend that plays, like, and then I just like started trying to figure out like where to go to play and found a local game store to go to, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I found out that I was playing the wrong thing because I was playing standard and it like literally was about to rotate out. I know it was literally about to rotate out the moment I bought my deck. I paid like so much money for this like tuned deck, and literally the next week it was rotating out. And I felt like such a fool. And I was like, this is garbage. Like, what do I do? And like the homies there were like, yo, you need to play Commander. And it was like cool because there was a bunch of POCs there, a bunch of, a couple of Black people that I met who's actually in the first episode of Table Top Jocks. Chad Williams, what up? I will never forget our interaction. Thank you for being a blur that kind of took me in. And he's been the homie since. And yeah, it just kind of evolved from that. And just I have a great time playing and kind of putting the pieces together. And like I'm just a big nerd in general, like you said. Like I love so many things. But growing up in that Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game kind of environment, that kind of informed me of how I should play Magic and other things competitively. And so when I first started playing Commander, I would get beat on turn like 1, turn 2, turn 3, and be like, man, this is just what it is. And as I learned, that ain't what it is. That's not the culture. That's some other shit. I just got bred into the fire.
Oh yeah, I've had some games. When I played with you guys, I think I was dead on like turn 4, something like that at one point. It was there was one game where I just now that's awesome. I love those stories, especially about your friend who gave you the magic cards. This is something interesting I've observed in the Magic the Gathering community specifically that I've never seen in any other community is whenever there's a new player, somebody inevitably, doesn't matter who, but somebody will say, hey, do you want my bulk? Just take it and enjoy and learn. I've been trying to do that myself. So I've had 3 times now. I've had friends who are new to Magic, and my collection builds up to a couple thousand cards, and I say, you know what, take it, and I just give it to them. And but that's like the best thing is Magic is such a tight community of just like good folks to play games with, which I absolutely love, because there are other communities where there's a lot of gatekeeping and just like not niceness, but Magic is an awesome place to be. And so I thank you for bringing me even deeper into it, because I've gone off the deep end. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, before we really get into the meat of Magic the Gathering, inevitably there will be somebody who watches this video and they're like, what the fuck is Magic the Gathering? So can you just briefly summarize what is Magic?
My goodness.
I know it's a complex question.
I know. I mean, if I had to break it down to it, it's brass tacks. Like, you're a wizard, Harry. You're a wizard. You're a planeswalker. You're trying to defeat another planeswalker, and with your own array of spells, whether it be creatures or sorceries or instances, or if you're slinging a fireball at someone directly, or you're sending a creature over to go and bop them in the head. That's kind of what it's all about. And it's literally like your imagination is not like D&D where like you just make it up on the fly and you have a DM that like there's cards that have different things, but there's so many different ways to customize
Yeah.
your own type of play and find out exactly what you like to do. I turn creature sideways and I swing. That's it. Like I am a creature
Hopefully
deck to the
swinging
heart.
for 600. I think that's what you said the other
Yeah,
day.
yeah, I did make that. But it's not a traditional way to win in, and we play commander. That's like the, the thing to play nowadays, where you have a leader outside of the game that you can summon at any time, and that leader designates your entire deck. It's like it dictates whatever you end up playing. It's but even color scheme. Like, okay, cool. If your commander is this color, then you can only play that color in the deck. There's 5 colors in Magic, including colorless, so I guess 6. And each of them represent a different, I guess, archetype of play,
Yeah,
and each
or
of them have
aspect
kind of
of
like
nature,
an
something like that.
aspect of nature. So there's green that focuses on creatures and ramping up your lands to, because you're drawing mana from the earth and casting a spell. So when you tap your land, you're drawing the mana from the magic from the earth
Mhm.
and or whatever realm you're in, and conjuring that spell. There's black that focuses on you know kind of
It's a
using
lot of
your
like,
life as a resource.
yeah,
Yeah, like
poisoning stuff,
kind of like,
sucking other
yeah,
people's lives out.
sucking those. Yeah, you can drain people, you can drain yourself, you can spend your life to do other things. So it's kind of more of a your life is a resource kind of thing. Red is very fiery, and it's like you can sling spells, like you don't have to cast things that are on the ground. You can go right at the planeswalker, the other guy, so you can be like, all right, or gal, or whatever it is. Like you
Lots
can
of
be like,
goblins.
gotcha. Lots of goblins,
Lots of
like
goblins.
little creatures to get out early. You want to end the game as fast as possible. White is very like kind of defensive. You gaining life. You're building up a wall. We call it pillow forting. You're building a pillow fort, and it's more. I would say white by itself is kind of the weaker color, but like with other colors, it's a support color.
Oh yeah.
But there are people in the community that will argue, "Oh, white is good by itself." I'm like, okay, well, when you play mono white, you get wrecked.
Yeah,
Um,
I've attempted it. It's not as fun or
it's
easy as
hard.
it's hard.
And blue is a color of
You don't get to play, I get to
like
play.
yeah, pretty much. Like you kind of tell the whole table no. You kind of you manipulate spells. You can counter spells. You can copy other creatures. So as strong as someone else's deck, you can kind of build your deck to be. Oh well, if your deck is that strong, my deck is that strong because I'm playing a blue deck and I'm just going to copy all your stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of like the 5 colors of Magic. Um, and I will touch on something else real quick,
Sure.
just to be real. Um, there is a lot of gatekeeping in Magic the Gathering as well. I think that is a topic that maybe off topic right now, but every nerdism has their own gatekeeping, and it's unfortunate that it's still going on. And I think that to segue with Table Top Jocks, I'm hoping to abolish some of that gatekeeping and bring in more players, especially players of color, players that see themselves like me and see themselves as people who want to try to get into the game, maybe thinking like, how I thought when I was, growing up, like, oh man, I can't be a nerd. It's like, no, you can be. It's cool to be. And for the people that don't want us or people to experience this whole thing, they're wrong. They're phasing out. It's good that you did say that though, because you haven't experienced that, and I hope you don't. But it's good that your experience is that, and hopefully we can abolish that completely.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. There's still a lot that needs to be eradicated, just to purify, because there's so many good people. There are a lot of good people in Magic, and in a lot of nerd spaces in general. I'm meeting a lot of people, like when I'm going to Evo, because I met a bunch of people who are in the fighting game community. Cool people. I met a lot of people in the TCRPG community. I know it's all like say
So,
this
so many
10
acronyms.
times
Yeah.
fast. Yeah, exactly. And in that community, they are super dope, super cool playing, Call of Cthulhu or playing, different TTRPGs that are just super fun. And that's just what the community is supposed to be about and not about drama or any, other stuff. But here we are. I mean, we're all young adults and in high school all over again. So any space that
Yeah.
you go into, just let you
That's
know it's high school.
that's very true. I will correct my previous statement that I have never personally experienced gatekeeping with Magic the Gathering. I've experienced it with other nerdy mediums, but Magic the Gathering and then where I come from, comic books originally, those are two
Mhm,
places where I have never experienced somebody being like, you can't do this because you are XYZ. So
mhm.
I will count myself as fortunate, but I'm sure that there are people who have really experienced that, and that's just so shitty. The
Yeah.
nerd space is not a place for gatekeeping. Just let people enjoy themselves and be happy and mind your own damn
Yeah,
business. Thank you
that's
very
it.
much. Now, to quickly, a quick recap on. So we have standard, commander, and 5 colors for the internet.
Mhm, mhm,
I guess the fastest way I could say that standard is modern cards, 60 card decks, 4 copies per card per deck. Commander is 100 cards, singleton format, only 1 copy of each card in your deck. Um, you will hear about those two much more. There's other types of gameplay, right? You have legacy, you have pauper,
mhm.
you have historic. I don't even know what pauper is, if I'm being really frank. I don't know. I don't understand what it is at
Offers
all.
anything, I think no rares or no mythics. I think everything has to
Oh,
be
okay, okay.
uncommon and less.
Oh, okay. It's funny
Yeah.
is when I hear that, I think of it in another TCG called Flesh and Blood. They have a type of gameplay called Commoner, where your deck
Mm.
is only allowed to be made out of common cards, and you can have 2 rares, and that's it. But
That's pretty much popper, but like minus the rares.
okay, okay, interesting. Okay, well, now
Yeah.
I know. The more you know. Now, with 5 different colors plus plus colorless in
Mhm,
Magic the Gathering, there has got to be a lot of different combinations and things like that, and especially when you're doing your commander, when you're playing commander or EDH, Elder Dragon Highlander, which that's a whole different story, but commander.
it's a whole
um
yeah.
uh, when you combine those different colors, you could do different things, and that's what makes the game so fun. And kind of like
Mhm.
Joe was saying, there's such a variety and diversity of different combinations you can do. Joe, do you have a favorite color combination or a favorite commander? Like, what's the best one to you, or the one you enjoy
Oh
playing the
man,
most?
I think the combination I love the most is red, green, white, which has been deemed as Naya. That was
Sultai,
from back to yeah.
Sultai,
Sultai is green,
right?
blue.
No, because Naya
What is
is red, white, green. So yeah, all the color combinations have different names, and there's
yeah?
like 40 color combinations. So forgive us if we can't
If
remember
it
every
if it
single.
has if it has blue in it, I don't really pay attention. Sultai is green, blue, something else. So
What?
yeah, I don't know. I think green, blue, black. No, green, blue. Yeah, green, blue, black. It's Sultai.
Oh,
I
now
think.
I'm googling this
Whatever.
while we talk, but
Yeah, I was gonna say you should Google it, figure it out for yourself. There's a bunch of different combinations of cards. But yeah, I mostly play anything but blue. I'm not a blue player, and the reason being, and I'll say this
yes, Kai.
first
So
time on a podcast, first time on a podcast, when I first started playing, I was playing with people who were playing with these really powerful cards, and it made it unfun for other people to
mm,
play. So like, because albeit Commander is a multiplayer format, so you play with at least 3 to 4 people,
yeah,
ideally four, could possibly be five.
5 and 6 player games are so just they're
It gets
hard
it
and they're
gets it gets it
long.
gets a little. You have to kind of throw in different variants, which I don't want to confuse people, but like you'll learn about them. There's like secret partners, there's emperor, there's a bunch of different formats you can play once you start adding more than 4 people at the
I learned
game.
about Secret Partners from you, by the way. I'd never
Yeah.
heard of that until we played it, and I was like, "What is this?" That was different. That was a lot of fun, but I'd never heard of it until you guys. So
Yeah, I love Secret Partners. It's one of my favorite variants. There's also Plane Chase you could play with. But yeah, going back to my favorite deck ever is Sama the Tested, or
Mm,
Sama Voice of Dissent. The
okay.
Tested is one of her Planeswalker abilities. Because creatures can be either a creature or a Planeswalker. Sometimes when the spark goes off, just do the backstory, learn about
There's MTG
different
lore
shit.
all over the internet.
Yeah,
Dive down the rabbit hole.
but that's the cool thing about Magic is that the lore is so lush and vibrant and beautiful that you can spend your time reading the books, learn about the lore. They have flavor text on the card sometimes. Different characters, perish and come back and get resurrected, and there's a full story in this game. So you
Yeah.
can immerse yourself in and really do a deep dive and kind of theme your deck based on the lore of this creature or this character or this certain block of characters that were all friends. I mean, there's so many ways to really kind of just dive in. So that I feel like that's what makes it unique because
Yeah.
it's your own take.
Well,
Even though
and
there's yeah.
yeah, well, I was just gonna say there some of the lore is like from some of the other Magic the Gathering channels I know. Some of these guys, some of the lore goes back like 20 plus years, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's storylines that have gone back since the 90s. So I
Mhm.
mean, if anybody wants to dive into reading Magic the Gathering books, there's 25, 30 plus years of just
Yeah.
content to
Yeah.
absorb, which is awesome.
Which is really cool. Like, especially for the people who are like, more historians and more just like wanting to know more about the character. There's always a deep dive into like if you start to gravitate towards a certain character, there's a backstory for that character or for that, particular type of thing. Maybe not so much the more the commons or uncommons, but definitely the legendary creatures and rare and mythic and above. There's usually a backstory for that. So
That's cool. And so back to so you're saying Sema is your favorite commander probably, and that it's that red, green, white, or red, blue, white.
red, green, white. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
red, green, white. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is Naya. I'm sorry. I thought you said red, blue, light, white.
Oh no,
Okay.
I don't play blue. And the reason getting back to that is like I felt like blue was way too powerful and made me a villain. It was like live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and
Yep.
that is playing blue because blue does some nasty, nasty shit. But I was in a game just before this, before we got into this, and I played a deck that had uh, red, white, green, black, no other colors, or
Hmm.
no blue. And the whole point of the deck was to just beat face. It was Saskia the Unyielding, which is my second favorite commander.
Love it.
Segue into that. And she says when she enters the battlefield, you choose another person. And whenever your creatures do damage, they do damage to that person as well. So if you swing at the person that you choose, you do double damage.
Love it.
But the whole goal is to just take two people out at the same time. And so usually commander is four people. So if I'm taking two people out at the same time with all my creatures, I got one person left. So it makes it a lot easier to kind of deal with. And so yeah, it
I
was
love it.
it came down to
I
that.
I love those big beatdown decks. I think, God, my favorite color combinations is Naya, so red, white, green,
Mhm.
just like you. But then also, I really love Abzan, which is red, black,
Oh,
green, or white,
yeah.
black, green. God, there's so many. Okay,
I
white,
know.
black,
It's
green, which is Abzan. I absolutely so like. I have a Naya deck, which I brought down to you guys, which was my Dinos deck. I have a card called Gishath, and it's just this
oh yeah.
big dinosaur god. And it was a very fun deck to play, but it turned arch enemy very quickly because dinosaurs are very big and scary and stompy. For those who
Mhm.
don't know what dinosaurs are,
I mean, everybody's seen Jurassic Park, so there you go.
and so that the whole table became kill Devon very quickly. So that it was fun to play. And then yeah, Abzan I did a cats deck which I just called Death by Pussy.
I
And
mean,
it
many
was
have
just
fallen.
Yeah, it was a great deck. I actually gutted it for my shenanigans deck, but that's a different story.
Mhm.
So now, so favorite color combos. I'm glad that we have that red, white, green in common, because that I'm sure that makes for some fun gameplay, at least with us. Now, getting to the other side of Magic the Gathering, and there's actually a couple things that you had also mentioned that I feel like we should touch on.
Mhm.
One of them, you were talking about blue making you the bad guy. So there is something interesting about Magic, which is saltiness, salt levels, salt inducing stuff.
Oh yeah.
It is, yeah. There are especially in Commander, when somebody's
Mhm.
playing Commander, it is supposed to be a casual format of gameplay amongst friends. If you want to go competitive, go to the tournaments where they have the 60 card standard decks. But Commander, unless you want to get into CEDH, which is competitive Commander, um, it's supposed to be a fun, relaxing type of gameplay. So when somebody plays too many cards, that prohibits somebody from playing the game and actually enjoying it, that creates salt level, or that creates saltiness. And the more saltiness that you induce from your friends, the less people are going to want to play with you, because you just kind of control things and don't let anybody else have fun. So when you're learning to play Magic, that's something you really, I think, got to kind of be conscious of, because I don't want to play with somebody who's not going to let me have a good time. I want to enjoy myself and have fun, and not just have somebody else kind of, rub their thumb in my face and not let me play. So so I think.
I think to piggyback off that, there's a thing called Rule Zero that
Mhm.
is a conversation you have before, especially before you're playing with new players or playing with players that you haven't played with before, and you kind of give yourself a deck tech, a quick little deck tech of, hey, I like to ask, like, how fast are we trying to win tonight? To based on the decks that I have, because I mean, I got a lot of decks. But I'm like, all right, cool. If we're trying to win on turn 5, I'm not going to play a deck that's more casually going to win on turn, 9 through 10. I'm going to play something a little faster, play something with more fast mana, play something maybe with some more combos, maybe with some more, just some more interaction. Um, Especially if we got someone who's just starting the game, we want to play something that's like, okay, cool. You don't know how your deck is going to interact, so let's play something like a precon. Like they actually, and it was really cool that Wizards has these pre-made decks that you can just buy at the store, and they're like,
Mhm.
you know, 30-40 bucks. You can just buy it. It's a full commander deck, has all the lands, how to play it, how to play commander, has instructions, land, everything. You just need to buy a
Yeah.
sleeve, and you're good to go, which is great. And yeah, it's such a fun format. Um, but yeah, I feel like having that Rule Zero conversation, or having that conversation in general, you just want to make sure that that saltiness doesn't get induced. And for people that, and going back to the gatekeepers, we have a lot of people, and even in the comments sometimes on my show, I'll have like a pushback, like, oh well, I don't talk about my deck. I like to do this. I'm like, well, you wouldn't be in a pod with me, because we all talk about our decks. We all talk about what's going on, and even if Rule Zero is not fail safe, sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes somebody's deck may go off and they may not have understood the assignment, and then we'll go, hey, we'll get to the end of the game, be like, hey, I fucked up. I should have said I had this in the deck. That's my bad. Let's try this again.
Yeah.
That's a fine Rule Zero conversation, because ultimately you are here for the gathering. You are here for your friends. You're here to hang out and meet new people. That's what it should be. It should be a good time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think me and my play group up here, we all have one deck that each of us hates. So usually if we ever want to play one of those decks, it's like, let the group know beforehand, be like, hey, this is my nope deck. Are you guys cool with it? I literally have a deck that I just call my nope deck, and it's just, if I'm gonna play it, I need to let the group know beforehand. Just like my buddy has a Super Friends deck. If he ever plays that, he needs to let everybody know beforehand. And this it's just a part of the respect and making sure that everybody has a good time. So now, actually, and kind of what you were saying about folks in the comments, leaving things like, oh, I this kind of goes into the other side of Magic, where it is a trading card game. It's a lot of fun, but there is such thing as investable vintage Magic. That's why things like MTG finance is a term, because a
Mhm.
lot of these old cards people invest in. and this is a bit of a two-pronged question. The first one, I guess, is I know that you've been people have always been like, oh well, you and your friends you play expensive cards, and now I'm priced out of the game. Now me up here I'm going, that's not true. Like there's so many ways to go around it without spending $80,000 on a card.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious, what are your thoughts on things like this? And then my second one goes to, I mean, do you, as Joe, just do you collect any vintage or expensive Magic cards? Do you ever, is that something that you do, or are you just more of a player, a bit of both?
So I guess the first question, I think it's I think it's funny that so I'm gonna dive deep into
No, let's hear it. I want to hear it
this
all.
theory because I think there's a lot of times where I will play a deck that plays well, that has expensive cards in it, but it's all about the pilot. And I can give someone who's played a deck before, who has played Magic before, a $50,000 deck, and I can play with a $40 deck and beat that person. It's really about the pilot. It's really about knowing the cards. And it's also, to another extent, a lot of luck. You have
Yeah.
100 cards in your deck, or 99 outside of maybe your commander, and if you have partners, 98, or another variant. So it's kind of crazy that I get and I've gotten in the past like, oh well, you're just putting the most expensive cards in your deck and da 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 da. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. And I feel like if my skin was a little bit lighter, that also wouldn't be a factor. It would be more, oh man, you're such a good player, you're such a good deck builder, you're such a good this. But it's more just like, oh, you just came on here to pub stomp, you just came here to this. Listen, that's another form of gatekeeping, and that is something I'm trying to avoid in this community, and also trying to bring more light to black and brown players being able to play PLC and LGBTQ plus, and just getting people to just enjoy the gathering, as opposed to just being in the comments and being like, well, you're just showing up and you just want to win. It's like, yeah, no, I mean, I can get competitive and I like to win, but at the same time, I'm putting a deck together because of my brain and the way that things work, not because I'm not trying to come to the table and just beat everybody.
Yeah.
Um, Especially this is a casual format. Now, the fact that I know how to do that and I know how to put a deck together, it should elicit the response, oh man, you know what you're doing. Let me check out your decks. But it ends up being these negative aspects towards that. And I believe that is because there's a lot of gatekeeping in the community, especially for being a black man in this community and being, people of color, and trying to encourage that and getting more people into it. It's a response, it's a knee-jerk response from, the gatekeeping white side that doesn't want other minorities or black people to come into their game and play this, when it's like, no, it's everybody's game. Fuck that. you
Right.
know
Right. Well,
um
it's a game that's meant to have fun. It's weird to spend so much time focusing on somebody's gender or skin color. Just play the
mhm,
game. Why? It's weird that you're focused on that part of it. Like just
right.
play the game, right? Right?
It's
Like
it's a
there's
very weird, it's a very weird flex, and it's happened at many LGSs. That's why I've never been, real talk, I've never been comfortable going to an LGS like all the way. It's always been like, okay, well, I'm the only brother here, or it'd be like one other minority in the whole space, and I'll be like, this is fucking weird. And when I go play Magic, we're at a bar or we're hanging out, like, because for me that's the gathering. It's like I will walk into a bar, walk into a restaurant, excuse me, walk into a restaurant or walk into a place, with a lot of people, and get along with fucking everyone there and be like, hey, I'm buying you a shot, buying you a shot. Let's go. Let's have fun. And then people walk by like, oh, what are you guys doing? Oh shit, we're playing Magic. Do you know about this shit? Like, let's go. Like, let me teach you. Fucking sit down.
I
Fucking
love
hang
it.
out with us. Like,
Hello, random stranger. Let me teach you.
yeah,
Yeah, I love it.
that's the gathering. That's what was meant when they said Magic the Gathering. That's what we should be doing. We should be inspiring people to want to go and let their nerd flag fly, not being oh, you're just here, just beat everyone and fuck you, we hate you, and da da da. I'm like, that's just some weird energy, and
Yeah.
it's like people. I get it. Everybody's got their own insecurities. Everybody's got their own, shit going on. But like, keep that shit to yourself. It's like we're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're here to have fun. I forgot the second question. I was
Oh,
gonna segue into it, but
second question was do you, as Joe, do you have, or like do you collect any higher end, more expensive Magic cards? Do you like that? Do you, or are you more of a player, collector, or both? Like,
yeah, no,
what have you got?
I have the higher end shit. Like I play with Cassius Marsh and Post Malone. Like these motherfuckers are millionaires. Like they have all the
Cassius Marsh
money.
is very scary to play
They
against.
have they have a lot of they have a lot of money. So when I play Magic with them, I make sure I bring my A game. And there are decks that I have. I think my most expensive deck is almost 30 grand.
Oh my god.
But it's my Ryu deck. It's the deck that Wizards of the Coast they made a card, Ryu Storm's Edge, and I remember shooting a commercial with them, and I walked into the green room and I was like, "Is this me?" And then there was chuckles around and people laughing, and I was like, "Okay, this is me.
They were
Y'all
like,
tripping,
maybe.
baby." Yeah, that's the ludicrous fact. I'm like,
Oh,
well,
that's
I guess
awesome.
I guess I can pay some royalties, but no. Just to answer your question, yes, I do love the spiciness. I do love collecting high end cards. I do love, you know, blinging your deck out, but I also love just having fun. Just like, all right, cool. I can rock a precon. Like I don't need to win. I need to make sure that everybody else is having fun
Yeah,
before. And we're all on the
absolutely.
same page. We're all like, hey, we're all playing. Like literally, like it's gotten to the point where in Discord for Patreon, like if you want to join Discord, we play Web Magic. It's
Join this Patreon. Yeah.
spell table. You can play with your webcam or your phone, however you need to do it. But yeah, we got to the point where like, hey man, we're playing the bullshit. That's fine, and everyone understands. That's the rule zero for like, okay, bring out your best shit. Like we're just gonna have some fun, and everybody,
I'm
no
gonna
one's
set up my spell
salty.
table.
Everybody's having. Oh, you got to. You
I
got to.
know. I've
You
been
have. It
putting it
has
off. I need to. I have an arm right over there to do the thing. I just haven't.
Oh,
It's like right
well,
there. I just
yeah.
haven't set it up yet.
Well, yeah, you got to do the thing. You got to get in some
I
games in
know.
with
I
us.
know.
Like literally every single day, we're in the thing, doing the
Hmm.
thing. So,
Hmm.
so,
Oh no, I
but
I
yeah,
get the Discord notifications. So and every time I'm like, damn it, I need to do that. I just
just
keep
do it.
forgetting.
Do it.
Do it.
Set it
Well,
up.
so and see, and so my channel, because I guess I haven't really ranted to you too much about my channel, but my whole channel is all about commodities and collectibles industry. So I mean,
Mm,
regardless of if it's trading cards, comic books, video games, I mean, we talk about really expensive things here all the time. I mean, and I think that my viewers know. I mean, my most expensive comic book is probably I think I bought it in like 2018 for 2,700 bucks, and it's easily sitting at closer to like 15 grand right now, and that's one book. And so there's always going to be a collectibles side to any sort of commodity, whether it's trading cards, if it's video games, anything that is extra, not essential. There will be a market for that sort of expensive shit. But
mm,
to counter that though, there are ways to play with those expensive things. I mean, sure, you can't go out and just buy a sealed Pokemon Red version, but you can buy it on the virtual console on the Nintendo 3DS until like the beginning of next year when they stop supporting the store. But anyways, uh but like, you can buy the cartridge, you can buy, I mean, there's so many ways to go, and it's the same thing with comic books. You can buy the digital books to read them. If you want to collect the original printings of a comic book or a trading card, you're gonna have to shell out the money, but that does
yeah,
not mean you can't play them. Magic the Gathering specifically, proxy cards. I
yeah,
don't know why people are so, like, unless you are competing in a professional format and are required to have an official copy of a card, there's nothing wrong with a proxy deck.
yeah,
Like, everybody has different rules when it comes to proxies. Me personally, I won't let myself have a proxy of a card unless I own an official copy, but that is my personal rule. It can be totally different for my cousin Campos, who is our lovely editor. Hi Campos. Um, we've built him a great vampire deck, and we have I think like 10, 15 really strong proxies in there, but it allows players to elevate their gameplay and have more fun doing more combos without needing to shell out $1,000. And I don't see why
Yeah.
people, especially in a casual format, have such an issue with doing that. I don't see any issue with proxies, and I'm
Well,
sure,
that's
yeah,
yeah. I was gonna say, it touching it again. It's more on the gatekeeping, side of things. Like, yeah, and it's also too like, okay. So for my thing for proxies, I don't give a fuck. Like, bring a proxy deck. I proxy decks when I don't know, especially when I don't know if I like a deck or not. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna put this bullshit together. My printer
yeah,
go burr. Like, let me cut these cards out. Let me figure out if I actually want to invest into a deck that like this, because I may not like it. I might you might go out and spend, if you want to spend, okay, cool. You go into Moxfield, download this deck. Okay, cool. Price it out. I'm gonna buy all these cards, and you get it, and you're like, man, I'm having the worst time. I don't even like this deck. And then you spent what, 20 grand on a deck that
zillions of
you're like,
dollars. Yeah,
yeah, or even it's like a 3 grand deck. I was like, that's a lot of money in this economy, to just spend on Magic, the Gathering, a piece of cardboard. Like, proxy your decks. Like, have fun. Like, make sure you're having
yeah,
fun with the decks. Like, it's, who fucking cares? And if you have people that are honestly caring that much about it, then you're in the wrong play group. Find
yeah.
a new play group. Find
Find
other
people that are just
people to
gonna have
like
fun with you.
that are just gonna have fun and like encourage you to be the best person you are and have a lot of fun. We are literally trying to get rid of all these gatekeepers and all the people who are just like so obsessed and like in their own little corner. That shit is gone. Like, phase that shit out. Like, push them niggas on like, you know what I mean?
I think I saw
Like,
that on your Instagram too. Was it the Space
yeah,
Ghost?
just
Yeah.
like, it's like,
Mhm, mhm. No, but I mean, like, you're correct, and and if you want to support like a small business, I mean, there are a lot of folks on Etsy who do proxies and tokens, and like there's some guy, they make really nice high quality proxies. There's one guy, I think it's like Proxy for You. He's the only guy I go to, but he makes like really nice high quality proxies, and it's like
hmm,
$2 a pop. So you
yeah,
can go get like a proxy of like an alpha demonic tutor that costs $1,500 if you want the OG card, or you can spend $2 on this, and
it
play.
looks the same.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
if you're playing on
exactly.
if you're playing on spell table, you're playing on webcam. No one's gonna give you shit for playing with proxies.
Exactly.
And if they do, they're
This
don't
is
play
the
with
wrong.
them.
Yeah, it's the wrong play
It's
group. Yeah,
wrong. It's the wrong crowd. It's the wrong. So play with proxies. Do your thing. Have fun. The most important thing is to have fucking fun.
yeah.
That's
Now,
it. It's a
and
game.
yeah, and if you're an investor or something like that, you're probably not looking to play. If you want to invest in the high end expensive cards and the graded cards, you can. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
If you have the money and the ability and the will to do so, do it and have fun, but don't shit on people who don't have it like you financially. That's,
Right.
just it's all about just enjoying it in your own way. You want to invest, you want to have expensive cards, fine. If you don't,
Yeah.
also fine. Now, one other thing. So you've mentioned Moxfield a few times, and I want to talk about some resources for folks. So, if you're deck building before you want to buy those proxies or spend the money on the expensive actual versions of the cards, you have places to build your decks and look at them before purchasing, right? So you've got things like Moxfield, Archidect, Tapped
Mhm.
Out. Are there any others? I can't think of any off the top of my head. I know there's more. So
I mean, I'm sponsored by Moxfield, so Stan.
okay, okay, Knoxville. I'll take that. I'll take that. Um, and
But
then
yeah,
you've
they're
also there's also a EDH Rec, which if you just type
mm,
in the name of your commander, it will give you really good recommendations for cards that synergize with that. So you can deck build with that. Same thing with like Moxfield or Tapped Out or Architect. You can look up
mm,
different decks or themes, and there's literally something called a chair tribal, which is just a deck with all cards that feature chairs, and you can look it up and like see how other people are building so you can pick up tips and tricks and whatnot.
mhm,
If you want to watch some Magic the Gathering gameplay content, you've got Joe right here, Tabletop Jocks. You can see him, Post Malone, Cassius Marsh. You can see folks from the Command Zone coming on the show as well. You've got so many people on your show just coming on to shell out and play Magic and just have a great fucking time. And actually, that's a good question. Let's talk about Tabletop Jocks really quickly. How did Tabletop Jocks come about? Let's hear about it.
So during the pandemic, I got a call from my friend Craig, Craig Blanchett, who works at the Command Zone, and he's an editor for them. But he's also Craig Blanchett, aka Mr. Infect, if y'all know him from that.
We all know Mr.
Uh,
Infect.
and I've played Magic with him for over a decade, and we're homies. We go way back, and you know, he was like, "Hey man, you want to come do this show? They're doing this show called Game Nights. You know, if you ever heard of it." I was like, "Oh no, not really, but yeah, I'll come to the show. Sounds like fun. You know, yes, come play Commander, have fun." And so I'm thinking like, all right, well, I'm here. I'm on this show, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm an actor, so you know, honestly,
I remember that episode.
Magic came second to me. It was more about let me let my nerd flag fly and have a good time and the personality and just like you know just really sell the gathering. And it worked out. It was cool. You know, I was you know always afraid of the YouTube comments, and I was like, I don't want to look at it. You know, people are gonna be you know nasty. You know, just a lot of racist people on the internet. Just like everybody's who has access to the internet, I just feel like is you know they can just say the nastiest shit ever, and they can get away with it because it's like well they're just on their phone, you know, or on the behind their computer hiding, you know, being a coward, and just saying whatever the fuck they want to say. And I was like, I don't want to deal with that. And so my fiance at the time, or girlfriend at the time, now fiance, Julie was like, hey, you know, she scrolled through the comments and she was like, these are really positive. Like everybody really likes you. It's really cool. And so I was like, really? And so I started looking at it, and then you know I got invited back. Another game nights episode. So I was like, oh, cool. Seems like fun. Let's do it again. So we did it again, and my homie Rachel Weeks, she was on the episode, and they had no idea that we knew each other. And I was like, "Oh, that's what's up! Like we're homies." And they were like, "Wait, what? Y'all know each other?" We're like, "Yeah, we play games together." And they were like, "Well, shit, okay, cool." So we played another game there. Same response. We had a good time, and so that prompted me to talk to a friend who's in analytics. He was like, "Bro, like." You need to start a magic channel right now. Whatever you do, start
I'm
a
glad
magic
you did.
channel. Yeah. He was like, you need to do the thing because you are trending. Like people like you in this space. You're a good positive role model in this space. You're also a black man that has fun playing this and is charismatic. You need to be in this space. So I was like, all right, fuck it. So started another channel. We won't go into that too much, but I started another channel, and that didn't work out so much. So I I really learned from where that took me and that space that I was in, and then moved forward and went, you know what? I know how to take this and elevate this to the next level, the level that I want to take it to. Because being a blurred is not just about the nerdy things that you like. It's about the statement of being I'm black and nerdy and I'm proud of this shit. And I'm gonna like use that. Like so I'm like, I like anime, I like video games, I like magic, I like D&D, I like, you know,
Yes.
it's like there's a whole gambit of things that I love. How do I encompass this on the channel? And a buddy of mine was talking to me, and the way we came up with the name, I mean, it was like I remember being in line one time for I forget it was something like I forget we were in line for. It was something nerdy. It was something like, oh yeah, you get to like buy this first comic book or buy this video game or whatever. And I don't know if the guy was being malicious or not. I don't think he was. I think he was very naive. He was like, am I in the wrong line? Is this for like a sports event? And he saw
Wow.
me. I
Oh
honestly
boy.
I don't think that he really understood what he was doing at the time. And so I was like, nah, man, I'm here for what you want to do. He was like, you just don't look like a nerd at all. And I'm like, so what does a nerd look like?
Gotta
And
love
so I
that,
was
don't
like,
you?
and I'm like, okay, this is funny to me. And so he was like, well, what do nerds not look like? He was like, well, jocks. I was like, well, shit, let's call it Table Top Jocks. He was like, that's fucking dope. Because this is exactly what you don't think you would get in that kind of circle, in that kind of nerdom. like I would walk into a bar, fucking like hang out with everyone and be like, "Hey, I play Magic," and they're like, "Fuck is Magic?" "Oh, it's a gathering." "What the fuck is that?" And then school everybody about it, or school everybody about comics, and they're like, "Oh shit, okay, well maybe this is kind of cool." And it's opening the circle. It's opening access to everyone who hasn't heard about it before. And that was like, oh, this is such an appropriate name for the channel to be called Tabletop Jocks. To be like, yo, we're not the motherfuckers that you immediately go to and be like, oh, you're a fucking nerd. It's like, but you should, because we can all be nerds. That's a blanket statement. That's just, it is what it is. It's not some dude sitting down in his mom's basement, overweight,
Yep. Yep. That
never talked
stereotype.
to
Yeah.
that stereotype with glasses, never talked to a girl before. It's anybody. It's people who are athletes. We got Cassius Marsh, we got Post Malone, we got Gabrielle Luna, we got Andrew Dismukes from SNL. That's the homie. And I've met so many different homies in this space and in this just in the whole right. I met you, like, just going to Star Wars Celebration. I didn't know what the fuck that was. I was like, all right, cool.
It was cool.
I just want to go. Like, I like Star Wars. I fuck with the new trilogy. A lot of people don't, but I fuck with it because John Boyega is my spirit animal. So
I love
there
that
it
guy.
is. Like, let's go. So I was like, intrigued by just so many different things and so many different things to be inspired by, and in different walks of life. So I started that channel to essentially officially let my nerd flag fly and allow people to see, and also to highlight the fact that, yo, I'm black and I'm proud, but I'm also gonna give access to people who are feeling that they're like, I never got to be black and nerdy. I never got to be brown and nerdy. Never got to be, POC and nerdy. I never got to be LGBTQ plus and nerdy. I only got this part. And I'm like, nope, come on and play with us. Here's the play space. This is the safe space. This is what we're doing it at. And that to me,
I really appreciate, just really quickly, I'm just going to interject. I really really appreciate that you have kind of created and like really fostered that space. So for the internet, or at least whoever doesn't know me, so I am black, Italian, and Japanese. So I have spent my entire life being told that I'm none of that because I'm not enough of that. Or being called things like an Oreo, or being told like, oh, I act a certain race or something like that because either I'm not gangster or I'm too white or whatever. So it's for a long time in my personal life, I had a very, very, very difficult time feeling like I fit in anywhere because I was constantly being told what I was not. So it was really, really nice to be able to come down to the barbecue and see other people who are of mixed race or blurs or whatever, and just be able to just be like, oh, I'm just playing Magic with people like me, as opposed to like, oh, I'm trying to where I felt like I fit in instead of feeling like I was trying to fit in, which was really really nice. So I appreciate that you've created that space because I've never really experienced that. I My own friend group that I play Magic with, I'm the only person of color, but I've known them all since I was a kid, and they just accept me. They don't care about my skin color. They just love me for me. And I love them too. But like, it was really cool and different and very nice to be in a place of just just a really diverse group of folks just playing and having a good time. So that I just really appreciate that you've created that space. That was a really good experience, and I really hope that we can do that again, because that was just fucking, it was great, man. It was really cool.
well, thank you so much for coming out, for hanging out, and for everybody who came out. The cookout episodes are coming out very soon. We call it a cookout because if you ever heard expression, you're being invited to the cookout, that's exactly what I wanted to bring to the table, added to nerdiness. But yeah, I felt particularly great about doing something like this because I'm the only person in this space that could be doing something like this right now, and I felt a need um, to be vocal and to be prolific about this, because who else is, if not me, if I you be the change that you want to see,
Yeah.
and I wanted to see that change, and I was like, no, this is definitely, I told my producer, my buddy Jay, not Jay that taught me how to play Magic, but Jay Valentine.
Love that guy. He was great.
Yeah,
He's so
I
cool.
love Jay. So I told him, I was like, yo, my goal for this channel is to bring in a new audience, because there's so many things we can cater to an older audience, and things that people are used to. No, fuck that. I want to bring in people. I want to bring in hood niggas on the streets. They're like, I want to walk down the hood and be like, hey, fucking tabletop jocks, let's go. Y'all let me fucking get my inner nerd in. That to me spells more than anything, because bro, I had a couple days ago, I had a couple MMA fighters hit me up and tag me on Twitter, and like, we're in a group chat now. They're gonna come on the show.
That's
And it's
cool.
like,
that's neat.
they were like, bro, that's the most tabletop jocks you could ever fucking be. Like, real talk. Like we are about to bring that shit. But also cater to, people like Professor, like Brian, he's the homie. And people, it's just like so many different walks of life. There's so many United Colors of Benetton, of fucking, of nerdom. And to bring that all together, it really means a lot to me too. And like, I had a homie hit me up the other day, like, oh, I got invited to this panel, and it was only a couple people, color. Like, actually, no, they were the only person of color there. And I was like, look, if you want the comfortability, you got to make it. You have to make it yourself, because nobody on that side is going to make that for us. We have to make it. We have to understand that if we want this space, we have to cultivate it. We have to do it. And I was like, fuck that shit. I'll be goddamned if I'm going to lay down and be, adhere to the rules of this fake bullshit. This is all fake. None of this is real. It's all fucking bullshit that we're talking about. So like, why not have a great time and be like, you know what? Let's do the fakeness over here, but let's do it, not fakeness, but like, let's do the fantasy stuff over here,
right?
But let's do it in our own space where we're comfortable and let's have a good time. That's it. And I will always make sure that my people feel space enough to be themselves, enough to have fun, enough to have a good time. And I will never take that from any way from them. And look, I'm not denouncing, anybody else who's like cis white male, But I'm like, bro, you got a billion channels. You got a billion people who like you out there. Representation matters. And I was like, shit, I need to step it up. I need to be that space. I need to be that person.
And you did it.
To do the thing. So fuck it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like, you did it. You have a huge following. You've got a great Patreon. Join us, Patreon. And I mean, like, it's, it is a successful channel. It's not like some little tiny startup with 30 viewers. I mean, you have several thousand subscribers at this point, right? I think you're where are you at? Like 20?
We're almost at 20. We're almost at 20K. And
that's 4 or 5 times more than me. So I mean, you're doing.
I don't know that many people in real life. You know what I mean? Like, I know like 40 people.
That's okay. I mean, no, I have a good inner circle, but I am a social butterfly. Most people will tell you I talk too much. But now we're coming. I know we're coming up on that hour mark. I've got like just a little handful of questions for you. My one, I want to change gears really quickly. And Magic the Gathering is just this amazing thing, but there are other card games. There are other TCGs. You've got Yu-Gi-Oh, you've got Pokemon. I mean, do you I don't think so, but do you think that these two games will ever be able to match Magic the Gathering, or really, because you hear the big three, I mean, but they're just so different. Do you think that there's ever going to be any sort of competition there that could really be threatening to Magic and WotC?
I don't think so. I think everybody, but I also think that whatever you love, you love. You know what I mean? So if you love Pokemon, if you love Yu-Gi-Oh, if you love, I know it was like a Dragon Ball, whatever TCG,
Well, the Dragon Ball cards, man, that's a whole different subject we can talk about. That we'll get into. That's the whole thing I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, but it's like whatever you love, like you love, and you can have fun, you play with your friends, or play with a community that you can get into, and that's real. But as far as I don't think there's any competition, because I think they're all different. I think you can do all three, and if you were invested in all three, facets, if you love all three of those games, play all three of those games. It's going to be a different experience for you and different people in those communities, and allow yourself to express yourself in each one of those communities and not be bogged down by, oh, well, this is the one that's most popular, so I have to play this one. Fucking play what you want.
Fair enough. Have you ever been curious about any other TCGs outside of Magic? Have you ever thought about Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood? You know, any...
I know. I saw you trying to slip it in Flesh and Blood. I seen you send me the card. I was like, I see Devin.
Just had to slip it in there.
I have not. I mean, I watched, both shows, as like a real kid, little kid. And I remember playing like the Game Boy games for Pokemon, but I never really collected the cards. So, I mean, I really just feel like, let your nerd flag fly however you want it to fly, and whatever, whatever gravitates your way, take it and run with it.
Well, I feel that. And then last things here. If you had a piece of advice, just one piece of advice you can give to any new Magic the Gathering player, just like something that you wish you would have known when you started, something that you think is invaluable to the experience, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's new and looking to get into the space?
I would say the biggest thing, first and foremost, is find your tribe. Find your tribe. Find the people that you rock with, that you're having fun with, that know to have your back, that going to give you the best advice, that know you, because you can often fall into these circles of people who are giving you advice based on their own motives, or trying to get you to spend money that you don't have, or trying to make you feel bad about not having cards. It's all about the gathering. That's it. So if you don't feel
100%.
like you're having fun, or if you don't feel like if you feel like you need to save up money and buy a card that you don't, you can't afford, and then like skimp on a meal. No, that's not it. That's not the gathering. You need to find a group that's going to make you feel right at home, having a great time. And then when you find that group, then you start to evolve into whatever you're going to be into. So then you can start to like, oh, well, I like this color, or I like that, or I like this. Experiment away. Play everything. Play every format. Play, arena. Just do it all so that you can experience everything, so that you know exactly what you like and what exactly you don't like about the formats, so that you can go, okay, I'm having the best experience that I could have in this space with these people at this time. And then start to cultivate your own thing and be the change that you want to see.
That is probably some of the best advice given on the channel so far. So yes, find your tribe. Joe, you know what? We've just hit about an hour and 2 minutes. So I really, really thank you for just like talking to me about your experience, your thoughts on the game, whether it be, gameplay or collectability. I really appreciate you being here. I'm really excited for the cookout episode. I want to, if anybody else wants.
Nope.
Once is by.
No spoilers. No spoilers. Cut that.
Sorry.
Say no more.
And then there's some other really, really just badass, awesome gameplay. No spoilers, I promise that. But there's you got some contenders up on that episode, man. That was really, really cool, and I'm really excited to see it. Joe, I'm gonna put you out here real quick and say goodbye to the internet, and I'll catch up with you in just a couple seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. All righty. Internet, that was Joe Johnson from Tabletop Jocks. Make sure that you guys subscribe to his channel. Make sure that you folks give his stuff a listen and a watch. It is some incredible gameplay. Make sure that you guys join his Patreon as well. It is an awesome place to be. They are constantly playing Magic the Gathering, which is a great thing, as well as talking about other things like D&D video games and whatnot. It's a really cool community. If you guys want to continue the conversation with me, please make sure that you join the Discord, which is the Collector's Room. You can find us on Instagram at Collector's Room, and there should be a link in the bio there, as well as down below in the description. But otherwise, that was it. I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Hopefully this piqued some of your interest in Magic the Gathering, and I'll see you guys next Saturday.